Hello guys, welcome to the ETR podcast. As you can tell by our setup, we still haven't got a chance to fucking meet up and have a burger. But there's still road blockage preventing me from getting down to Jean, so you're stuck with this option again. But yes, we decided today we might talk about some video games. In fact, our top 5 video games. Essentially, without me and Jean playing video games together, this podcast might not exist because we used to just talk random shit while we're playing video games. And subject to Joe Rogan came up one day and we thought, fuck, we're talking all this shit. Why not just put a camera in front of it and make our own podcast talking shit? So thanks for video games. Here we are, annoying the fuck out of you lot. So, yes, I figure, fuck, I'm already talking, so I might as well start. Originally, I was going to do it in the order of year of release, but then I thought, fuck it, that defeats the point of a top 5. So number 5 for me, I have Age of Empires, the PC game. Big one for me. Fuck, I still play it these days. I've completed all the missions a dozen times over, so now I just set up like random games with the computer and go from there. Sometimes you win, sometimes you get fucking slaughtered. But it's a fucking good game. If you haven't checked it out, I mean, it's a pretty old game now, but anyone that's keen on fucking check it out, go check it out. Number 4 for me, Nintendo 64, GoldenEye. I don't know if you ever played that one back in the day. James Bond. First person shooter. Fucking addicted to that game when I was younger.
Everyone had that with the golden controller, the special edition.
Yeah,
and everyone used to fight
controller
over who was going to use that golden controller as well. That was hectic.
Well, when they re-released it for the Wii, I think it was, you got the golden controller with it then as well. So yeah, rather than the sticks, but yeah, that one. Fuck the amount of time I wasted trying to complete all the little missions on that, all the side bits. Like I think it was the the first level, you had to complete it within 2 minutes or some shit to unlock fucking, God, we spent hours just trying to do speed runs just to unlock the fucking, I think it might have been the golden gun or invincibility or some shit, I can't remember now. Unfortunately, my TV won't fucking play my 64, otherwise I'd still be playing it. Number 3 for me would be on the PlayStation 4, so a more modern one. That would be Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Mainly the zombie side of it. Used to go around my mate Russell's place when he was still living in town and go for a barbecue, a few drinks, and he'd hook up the 2 TVs in the lounge room and would crank some zombies all night. And yeah, that then got me right into the Call of Duty franchise to the point of going back in games that had previously been released, and then also come forward into now we're up to Cold War, which I'm yet to get, but I will soon enough. The hours spent on trying to unlock the Easter eggs in that game, fucking unreal. And we used to have a few games of that back in the day. But then really we got more onto Blackout 4, Black Ops 4, playing the Blackout mode, which, like I said, that's really around the time when we discussed in major detail, fuck it, let's just do a podcast. Number 2 for me would be Zelda Ocarina of Time on the N64. I was always a Nintendo kid. It wasn't until PlayStation 4 that I actually got PlayStation. But that's another one of them games, you know, like, what would I have been, 10, 11, maybe 12, fuck knows. It was a while ago, and that was another one, pretty much my childhood wasted on completing that. I think I've clocked that game like 6 times or some shit. And if I could get the 64 to work on the TV, no doubt I'd clock it again and introduce my kids to it because I thought it was a fucking great game. Got some honourable mentions, but we'll leave them till after. But coming in at number 1 is the classic old NES with Super Mario Brothers. The original fucking Super Mario Brothers. It was a close contender between that and number 3. I thought that's the one that fucking started it, so it's got to be the OG version. And that's one that I still play these days. That's one I actually do play with my kids. They've updated a few times over the years through the various platforms. And yeah, now they got it on the Switch, so we're running Super Mario on the Switch, and Yeah, it's just an overall great game. Fucking classic. Can never go wrong with Mario. All right, I've finished talking shit now, mate. You give us your
cool.
5.
Lucky I've got a bunch of old games in there as well, and only probably 2 modern games. But I'll start off with do you remember the Burnout series racing games where the idea was you have races, the idea is to win, but then I liked it because I was always shit at racing games. So the idea of this one is you'd have crashes as well, like try and take out the other car, try and put the other car out of commission, or see how many times you can flip and total your car and all that sort of stuff. So I thought that was a fucking killer game. So I used to play them on my mate's PS2, and I had an Xbox, and every now and then there was that game on Xbox. But then Burnout Paradise would be it for me because it's just like a giant open map. And you just drive around, and every time you want to have a race, you just pull up at traffic lights, rev your engine, and you sort of get the option to start a race or a crash cycle or whatever it is. It's just a fun game. To me, it's one of those games I can just play for a couple of hours. And I'm not a gamer, so usually if I'm playing a game and I'm just like I'm not happy with it within half an hour, I'll always go back and play it. But it's usually about a half hour, 40-minute period, and I'll just turn it off until next time. So all these games I can just continuously play, so that's why they're on my list. But so that's like one of the more modern ones. The next one would be Borderlands. Definitely the first one. I remember when I worked at Game, and keep in mind I'm not a gamer, but I used to manage a couple of game stores in Perth, which is, for anyone who doesn't remember that, it was like EB Games only competition for a couple of years, and then they pretty much went out of business. Yeah.
Back in the day.
But we went to Sydney for the yearly conference, managers conference, and we had like Microsoft there, the guys from Gearbox, like all these Yanks came down from the studios, and everyone was always talking shit about how they were going to have the Halo, like that Warthog, the car that they actually made, and they had that there, and I had a bunch of photos taken in, and then everyone was crapping on about these guys from Gearbox in this game called Borderlands, and I'm not a gamer, so I didn't follow the market. I knew it was a new release coming out later, but I knew nothing about it. And when we introduced to the Gearbox guys, they were talking about Borderlands. They showed us how it was going to look, and then they decided to like change the style of graphics. It looked super real, like Fallout, and that almost happened. But then they decided to, because of the tone of the game, they decided to cel shade it, which is like comic book type graphics. So I sort of started playing the game there. Yeah.
Like it's known for today.
So I was sort of playing that game there, and I got hooked. And as soon as Borderlands 1 came out, I was all over it. And that's like another game that I can just play for hours and hours and hours. It doesn't really matter how often I got killed, which is a heap because I'm not a great gamer. But I can just sit there and play that for so long. And Borderlands 1 was my go-to for probably all of 2009 or 10, whenever it came out, for fucking years. If you want to say you clocked Zelda a few times, I finished Borderlands tons of times because that was pretty much the only game I owned. And then next on the list would probably be something I still play now because I've got that little Super Nintendo and I put games onto it, and that's NBA Jam from the arcade days, if you remember that.
Yeah, we used to have the NBA Jam at the local pizza store. They had NBA Jam and the boxing one, the full-on stand-up arcade machines. And every time waiting for the pizza.
Yeah, I just remember playing it with mates growing up, and whenever we went to the arcade, that was my go-to game. And as soon as I bought this little the Super Nintendo Classic thing, plugged it in the computer, downloaded that game. And even now I can go upstairs and play that for fucking hours. Is such a great game and fun. And all the games are short. They're not like long games like you get on NBA Live and all that sort of stuff, or 2K, where it's like full-length games or anything. This is just nice and short. It's just a fun game, so I've always been into that one. I don't know if you've heard of this next one. It's a game called Battletoads. And it was only on Nintendo. It wasn't on Super Nintendo that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Battletoads.
Yeah, so you basically, from what I remember, it was, the idea of it was to, the whole creation of the game was to So to try and bring people over to this one brand of games because the Ninja Turtles were out. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were games and they were huge, and someone said, oh, we're going to do Battletoads. And when I was young, I had no idea. I was like 6, 7, 8, 9 when I was playing that, and I was still playing it up until a few years ago until I got rid of my my Nintendo, which I regret. But that's a game that I always loved. I would always play that. So that was probably like over Mario. If I had a choice between like Duck Hunt and Mario combination or something like that, I'm going to Battletoads. That was my sort of go-to game. It was just something different.
Yep.
Like they weren't dressed up like ninjas. That was what it was. It was just a fun little game to play. So it's probably one of my... Like if I get a little Nintendo like what you've got, I'd probably be trying to put Battletoads onto it. Just because it's a killer little game.
Yep.
Choose through some hours. So it's pretty good.
I'll have to check it out because I've never heard of it.
It's different. Basically, your weapons are like you jump on things and your tongue and all that sort of stuff. So it's just fucking different. So where am I at? Burnout, Borderlands, NBA Jam, Battletoads. And
so
number
1.
They're not really in any order. No, these aren't really in any order. These are just how they sort of came to me. It was initially a toss-up, but we're kind of just going to go with a Star Wars game. None of the new ones, like they're cool, but just the original 91 release Star Wars that came out on Nintendo back in the day. That's about it. It's sort of just a side-scrolling game. I don't know. It's just one of those games that while we had it on the Nintendo, we would always play it and see. Because back then, games weren't like unlimited lives. Like in Call of Duty now, you can get through the campaign in a day just by dying a ton. You know, you never have to go back to the start.
Yep.
But that, that Star Wars game
else.
is one of those things. Same as Battletoads and your Super Mario Bros. You know, you had lives, and if you fucking expired, you were going back to the start. So it was always a competition between me and my mates and to see who could get the furthest sort of thing in a sitting. And back in those days, it was maybe a 48 centimeter screen TV, depending how well off the families were back then. But most places would have had like a 32 centimeter screen TV or whatever it was, just a small little square box. And it was always like 4 or 5 of us huddled around trying to play this game. That's probably more of a nostalgic game for me. Because growing up, that was like one of the main games that everyone kind of had. Not too many people knew about Battletoads. I found that at a mate's house, and I'd never seen it before. And then managed to come across a second-hand copy of it at school, but that was really about it. But yeah, that Star Wars game growing up was such a good fucking game, especially for Star Wars fans as well.
Yeah, I was never into Star Wars, but a game that I loved of Star Wars was the Lego game, The Complete Saga. That was fucking sick. I had that on the Nintendo. Well, didn't have it. I still have it on the Nintendo Wii. And that game is what then dove me into buying, I think, almost every fucking Lego game release that they had. And then when I swapped over, because I didn't want to go to the Wii U, because I hated the control system of the Wii. So that's when I went from, rather than going Wii U, I bought a PlayStation 4. So then I went through and bought almost all of the Lego games on PS4. I missed a few now because I haven't played it in a few years, the Lego games. But yeah, no, well, that's, I expected you to, I don't know so much. I thought Borderlands you might have on there, but I wasn't sure if you were. But I expected you to have Tony Hawk on there.
I wasn't. I got into that late, and that's in my honorable mentions. But then, like, when you said you chose the first Mario game over you. There was a toss up between that and the third one. To me, the third one is technically the second one. Well,
the second one's shit.
Yeah, well, the reason for that is...
Let's think of the second one like as if it's all hope is gone and it can just disappear out of the fucking repertoire.
What happened was, over in Japan, when they were doing more Mario, the official second, like Mario 2, was pretty much the exact same style as the first Mario, but the levels were just a lot harder. And when they shipped it to America for their market testing, the guys who were running Nintendo said, we're not going to play. This is like, it's too fucking hard. It's too much like the old one. We need something new. So in a rush, there was already a game. I can't remember what it's called, but you can Google it right now and you'll find the name of it. So what it was, they took the full gameplay of this other game. They changed the characters out and the scripting that pops up on the screen, and that's it. And that's why Mario 2 is what it is, because it's not even a Mario game. It's actually a completely different fucking game altogether. So that's why I consider Mario 3 the real Mario. Yeah,
Mario 2.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Well, a couple of my honourable mentions were some Super NES games. Another Mario one, Mario Kart. I loved that fucking game. I need to give you a game of Mario Kart one day. Because when my all my Nintendo, like, because I still have my original NES, my original Super NES, the 64, the Wii, I still have them all, but they were in storage, and my cousin was asking about them because he wanted them, and I couldn't find them, and then he went and bought his own copy anyway, and then when I finally found them in, I think they're in the back of Lynn's shed, I went through all excited, and Mario Kart was missing out of the box. I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. How the fuck did that go missing? But that's out of there. Donkey Kong 2 is missing. And also a game called Vikings, which was like, you go to different places and you're on a fucking alien ship and all sorts of shit. But yeah, they're all missing. And probably a few more. I think it wasn't DuckTales. It was Duck something where Daffy Duck's a ninja. Can't remember the name of that game, but that was missing too. There was a handful of games missing out of the box. But that's beside the point. I'm talking honourable mentions. So the honourable mention would be Mario Kart and also Donkey Kong Country, the first one on Super NES as well. There are other games that just consumed my childhood.
That's what I've got on the NES up here now. I downloaded that. Put it on there, Donkey Kong Country. Such a good game.
Yep. It's a fucking great game. I actually got it, Mum got it actually for the kids for Christmas for their Switches. Because me and Brooke got the kids Switches for Christmas. And Mum was like, well, what games do I get them? And so she ended up going, oh, well, you and your brother always loved Donkey Kong. So she got them Donkey Kong. And I haven't had a game of it yet, but I'll have to grab the Switch when they're at school and have a game. But, yeah, it's funny, you know, how you look through the way games are developed, like not only with graphics and all that, how far we've come. But now you look at it back in the day, you want to play Mario or fucking Battletoads or whatever, you chuck the fucker in the console, you turn it on, bang, you're done. Not like these days where we're like, all right, mate, we're going to have a game. All right, cool, we'll jump on. Oh, no, sorry, I'll play tomorrow because there's a 20 gigabyte fucking update.
Yeah, now
that needs to
internet's on
download.
Flash at the best of times. But that's like when old mate said today in the group chat, this is us now, and you got Borderlands 3, and his mate got Borderlands 3. They're going to be updating all day now before they can have it.
Well, not only that, but they're going to have a few games to level up enough to play with us anyway.
No, they can.
Because we're probably too far ahead.
As we play. The way Borderlands 3 was made, I'm pretty sure, is if you're like a level 20 and I'm a level 60, your gameplay will be at a level 20. It's smart.
No, okay. Because I thought it was different. When you got me onto Borderlands ages ago, I had to get... that would have been Borderlands 2 that I think you got me onto. Oh, sweet. Yeah. So they fixed it. So it's not like that for Borderlands 3.
It's completely different.
Oh,
and
awesome.
their guns that they pick up will be their spec. Well, within their range. Because I mean, I'm level high 20s or 30 something now on Borderlands 3. And I'm still picking up guns that are like 50.
I can't remember where I got up to. Yeah.
I've actually finished the story. I've just got to go back and do all the side missions, and I've done everything.
Yeah, because I can't remember where I got up to, but you got me onto that too, and I was playing it. And then I think you kept playing that, and I can't remember what I went on to. Maybe I started doing the campaigns and the Call of Duties again, or maybe I just went back to zombies or something.
I was going to put Call of Duty in there, but I don't. The only reason I got Black Ops 3 is to play zombies with yourself, and that was really about it. We didn't even play multiplayer. And then Black Ops 4, we picked up.
We had a few games, but we were getting slaughtered by fucking level.
Well, we didn't even set up custom games.
Shit.
We just didn't do it. It was always zombies. And then when we got Black Ops 4, there was the Blackout. like where you're diving in, like you're
Yeah.
actually dropping in from a plane and get a parachute and get all your ammo. So that was good. We played that for like a fucking year solid at night.
We slammed that hard, like hours
Yeah.
every night without fail. And that's why, they say if you don't use it, you lose it. We
Yeah.
were getting fucking good at that. And then we haven't played in months. And then we go to have a game. It's like, fuck, I only got 2 kills this game and I died. Like back in the day that night that you got your 14 kills. And I was like, fuck you got 14 kills. So then I was like, right. So then I got my 15 kills. And neither of us have been able to beat that fucking that score ever since.
Then
But
what was
that's-
after Modern Warfare came out after that, and we both waited pretty much a year before we picked that up because we just didn't see the point of it. And I got it. The campaign was okay. The thing I have is the campaigns are really fast. They're not, and
I think I completed the campaign in over a 2 or 3 day period. I wasn't playing it full on, but I completed it what felt like a few hours. It was probably more than that.
Taking account
But
that
it was like
I'm not a gamer, and I usually
wasn't
get
that
pissed
long.
off and turn the game off. I'm not a thrower. I won't throw the controller or anything like that. I'll get pissed off or hit it or anything like that. I'll just turn the game off. But I finished that game like casually playing it within a week, maybe less. And it was on the hardcore setting, so it was on like the hardest computer enemy setting. But then I also didn't have the heads up display. I had no idea how much ammo I had. I had no idea what was selected. All that stuff was gone. It's just scenery. So if someone like me is picking a game up and putting it on the hardest settings possible and still finishing it casually gaming here and there within 5 days, there's something for the hardcore gamers. There's something going on there. It's not they can't be challenged by that. But I actually prefer. I don't like Warzone. I think that's fucked. They should have kept it more like Blackout. They should have kept it more like Black Ops 4 Blackout. But then we just mainly play the custom multiplayers and just set up a bunch of bots so we don't have to deal with all the fucking 12-year-olds kicking ass.
Which that's a funny thing too because it's different developers. So I don't know if you know the deal with the whole Call of Duty franchise, but they have the 3 yearly cycle. So you have one company's doing this, they work on the game 3 years, they release it, and then they start work on the next game while the next lot have worked on the game 3 years, release it, and so on and so on. And that's why they reckon there was a fucked campaign with there wasn't even a campaign in Black Ops 4 because when they turned around and took it to the developers, which would have been Treyarch because that's the Black Ops fucking brand. And apparently, so the rumour went at the time, they weren't happy with the way the storyline was going or whatever the fuck it was too out there or however they wanted to say. So they just fucked off the campaign altogether. And that's why we ended up with Blackout. Because then the other companies that were working on the other games jumped in and helped them quickly knock out Blackout. And which is a shame because it would have been nice to see what the campaign was for Black Ops 4. Because apparently it was going to... Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but I used to watch a lot of zombie fucking YouTubers. And there was rumours on that it was very zombie-based for the campaign, but they all went, nah, it's too far out there. So who fucking knows what it would have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something wrong with games these days. Like, I remember when Xbox first came out, it was like CD, but you chuck it in. There weren't massive amount of updates. Actually, I don't even think there were any updates for Xbox and PS2 because not that many people had it connected to the internet. And then when PS3 came out and Xbox 360, that's when the fucking updates started fucking everyone up.
Well, I remember back in the day, it was always the complaint between Nintendo and PlayStation. It's like, well, Nintendo loads faster than your PlayStation. Yeah, but my PlayStation has better graphics.
Yeah, I never really cared that much about graphics.
Forth.
But I remember I went from, like, we weren't in a situation growing up, like, to own new consoles. So we always bought, like this. All I really remember is my brother. I think he got the Nintendo growing up for Christmas or birthday or some shit, and he's fucking 9 or 10 years older than me, sort of thing. So I wouldn't even remember getting that. But then, like the Super Nintendo, we only got because a mate was selling it. Her parents were just like, it's not being used, so we'll just sell it. So I think we picked it up for like $50 with all the games, and then
yeah, we used to get ours out the Quokka back in the day with a lot of people don't even know about the Quokka anymore because there's Facebook Marketplace and all that sort of shit. but it was just a buy and sell
Yeah.
type fucking newspaper. And yeah,
But
that's where we got our consoles from. Save
at
up
the
your
time
fucking
when all
pocket
that
money
when
and
all that was happening,
go
like
from
when the
there.
Nintendo 64 came out, the only way I could play Nintendo 64 is I went to my mate's house. Never owned one.
Yep.
I'd love to own one now, but they're fucking like triple the price of what they were back in the 90s. So I was like, it's fucking pain in the ass to try and buy one and then one that's in good condition. But, and then when I actually finally bought a console myself, it was the Xbox. I wasn't a fan of the PlayStation control,
Yep.
like the PS1. So I never thought about getting a PS2. That didn't even enter my brain. And I still now prefer an Xbox style controller where you've got the D-pad down lower where the left thumbstick is on the PlayStation sort of thing. I prefer that ergonomic feel. So I got the Xbox and that was fantastic. I fucking loved it. And so I was never really a Halo fan. Like I know Xbox people go, fucking Halo. I'm like, okay, cool. But there were other games. And I used to play all the other games. And it was just a console that
Yep.
had a ton of storage. I never even got close to halfway full. And there were no updates. The games all just ran. Good graphics for back then. One of my favourite games back then on that was Brute Force, which was only on Xbox. And then after that was the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And that's when all the updates came through. And that was an absolute cunt of a thing to deal with. You put a game in, you want to play it. Oh, sorry, bro, you got a 20 gig update. It's like, for what? The game was working fine yesterday. For what? You put snow on the ground. Who cares? I don't care. I don't want snow on my ground. You know what I mean? Like it's gotten way out of hand.
See, yeah. Well, I've never actually played an Xbox.
Oh,
in my life.
The original,
Never
it
fucking
was
played
good.
one.
There was
Not the. I've never played any brand of Xbox, whether it's the original
Yeah.
360, the one. I've never.
so the original
an
one, the
Xbox
black
at
box with the big green dot on the top of it. It was just a brick. It was fucking big, chunky, and heavy, but it worked.
Yep.
It didn't overheat. I can't recall reading about any major issues. And then they came out with the Xbox 360, and that thing was like a red ring of death. Every fucking day there was someone going, "Oh, I've got the red rings of death," like it's some sort of fucking cool thing. It's like, no, you just got the red lights. It means your console's fucked. It's not of death. It's not that fucking dramatic. And working at EB Games and Game, I used to get that all the time, and that used to bug the shit out of me. And that's why I never got back into Xbox. I sort of had to make a choice, and that was a PlayStation 3. Well, actually, I got the PlayStation 3, the Slim, for cheap. Because after the conference at Game, I didn't own a console. There's a story. So when I started at EB Games in 2008, they had a Gears of War limited edition red Xbox 360, and they had to get rid of it. So I picked it up. It was like a $530 price tag, and I picked it up for like sub $300. I remember that. It wasn't even half my paycheck. So I bought that. I took it home. I set it up. I turned it on. Red rings. So I took it back the next day. I said, "Are you sure this wasn't returned?" And like, did you have to peel the stickers off, and was it a bastard to get into? I said, "Yeah." It wasn't returned. We've never had this returned. I'm like, well, it's like done the red ring thing. Like it's not booting up. There's nothing happening. So I basically got my money back. Then I defected and went to work for Game. Like my second week was the conference, so I flew over there for that. And Sony was like, "Oh, we just had the JB Hi-Fi guys, and we gave them all the PS Vita, the little handheld thing." I don't know if you remember that. And then they're like, "We can't do that for you, but you can buy the new PlayStation Slim for $100." So I went from being that big chunky PlayStation 3 to the slimmer one. Before they then slimmed it again, so it was sort of that second version. So I picked that up for literally $100. I think it was like $99. And then I basically took one from the store, and they sent another one to the store, and that's how I got into PlayStation. And I never had an issue with it. Like I never had any hard drive issues. I never had any software issues, no gaming issues except for the updates. And then, from there it was pretty much straight to PS4. So I can't see myself going back to Xbox, because even when they brought out the replacement from 360 to One or whatever they call it, there's still people whinging about that. Like it's still having hardware difficulties and hardware issues, and shit's failing. Whereas personally just never received any issues with PlayStation, so it's good. But again, the games that are on PlayStation, like, they really need to fucking stop all these updates. They need to just have a game out there, say this is it, and just go for it.
Oh yeah, it gets out of control. But I mean, I couldn't see myself going back to Nintendo unless they brought out. Well, I shouldn't say that, because depending on what the next Nintendo brings out, as long as it's not this same sort of controllers as the Wii, I might.
I'd like to see Sega come back.
But at this stage, I'd probably. Yeah, I used to play the Sega a bit. We had the Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Master System 2 back in the day. So
I just think if Sega come back, like if they come back and bring a really good console to market, I know Sega's still they're a software manufacturer now. They're not a hardware manufacturer. But if they come back, I can see them doing a shit hot version of Sonic as well.
Yeah, well, they brought out a few different versions of Sonic
but it's not
PS4.
great. It's not. It's like when Sonic was only on Sega consoles. It was I love those games like that. Sonic and
no, there's one like that. They have
Sonic
got one
and
like
Tony
that on
Hawk's
PS4.
they're pretty much my honorable mentions. That was pretty much it. Yeah, I've got a few. I've got 2 PS4 Sonic games. 3, sorry. One of them that was a free game, and then I've got 2 on disc, physical copies. One that I bought up in Northern. You got your kids as well. Yeah, they're good, but they're not. I think it's. I kind of feel like Sega's holding back a little. Whereas if they came out with a console, I think they'd relaunch Sonic, and it'd just be fucking tremendous compared to what's out there now. So just trying to, it'd be good if they did that, but I can't see it happening.
Well, if they do, they do. If not, they don't. But should we wrap it up there, mate? Because I don't know how long we've been rambling now. But if anyone has managed to watch us this far, comment down below. Tell us your favourite game, whether it's your top 5 or just top favourite game of all time. Like I said, this whole channel was pretty much brought to life through me and Gene playing video games and talking shit. So we thought, hey, why not give it a top 5? Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Give it a like. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, because we're still seeing in the good old algorithms that most people that watch our videos aren't subscribed to the channel. But either way, everyone stay safe out there with all this fucking bullshit in the world, and we'll catch you next week. Hopefully, back to normal. If they're going to get rid of that fucking roadblock and I can get down to Gene at some stage. But we'll see how she goes. See how we go. Whatever the fuck. All right.
Catches.
Cheers, guys. Catch ya.